Hi, I hope you enjoyed the blog article. Today I want to run you through an example of how to set up a multi-region test like we discussed in the blog article. So the first thing you would do is log into BrowserMob. That's the tool we'll be using today for this demonstration. And this would be the home page once you get signed up. Here we'll go ahead and click Schedule a Load Test. Here is the load test setup page. We're going to take you through the basic info, defining a load test, and selecting your scripts. So the first thing is name. We want the name to be descriptive because we want to make sure that it describes the test that we're running and allows us the ability to kind of keep track of what tests we've run, and so that we can track changes that we make to the website configuration in the meantime, so we know what changes help us in what ways. So for this, we're just going to call it test blog, and then I'm also going to include the location because, as I mentioned, we're going to do multi-location. So I'm going to keep this one from Washington, D.C. You can see here you can select Washington, D.C., Bay Area, or international sites of Ireland, Singapore, and Tokyo. You can't select multiple sites, which is why I thought it would be valuable to show you how I would run a multi-region test. Because it's multi-region, I don't want to run it as soon as possible because I want to make sure and enforce that these both tests start at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and select 4 o'clock today for the run time. Next, we want to define our load test, and if you remember from the blog article, we talked about 10 ramps of 100 users each, followed by 10 constant sections where we run at that user level for a particular period of time. You'll notice as a default, BrowserMob uses that paradigm, and as you add more intervals, it's going to follow that same paradigm of ramp and then constant, ramp and then constant. So we're going to kind of walk through this the same way we did in the article, in that I want to go up to 1,000 users. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. The idea here is we're going to use an example, again, much like we talked about in the article, where we are going to test an e-commerce site. We're going to test it from multiple regions, and here in North America. And I'm going to show you how you would set that up. So as you can see, this gets a bit tedious, which is why I wanted to show you the trick that I use when I'm doing this, because I think it will make this easier for users at large. So while I'm still doing this, let's start talking about our scripts. The scripts, the biggest thing that you're gonna need to decide is what scripts you're gonna run, what parts of your website you want to exercise, and how much load you want to put on each script. For the example I'm using today, because again it's an e-commerce site, we're going to have sort of the standard set of scripts, and here we'll go on to that now, where we're going to go to the home page, we're going to browse a category, we're going to add an item to the cart but not check out, and then finally there's going to be a checkout. So for this example, we're going to say when people go to the home page, well, let's go ahead and get the scripts added in here. So for when people go to the home page, let's say that 40% of the people go to the home page and then leave because they didn't find what they were looking for. Then we find that 25% of the people actually browse a category but never do anything beyond that. 25% actually add an item to the cart but never actually check out, and then the final 10% actually find a great deal on the website and check out and purchase the product. Right? So now I've basically modeled the traffic that happens on my website against what I'm testing. I've set up my user intervals so that I get lots of granular data on each level, so I can tell where my website's slowing down, where potential memory leaks might be. I'll be able to see all of that data. And then finally, I've set it up to test from the Washington, D.C. location. We can see here's the user test plan. You'll see it looks like a staircase because that's what we've set up basically, is a staircase of users added to test the load. So now we'll go ahead and hit schedule test, and that will schedule our first test from Washington, D.C. So then the next thing you want to do is we're going to use this cool button right here called clone. And what clone does, you can use this to run a multi-region test, or you could even use it to run multiple of the same type of load test, because what it does when I click this button is it automatically pre-fills the page with the exact same options that I had just used. But it also still gives me the flexibility of being able to change things if I needed to make any adjustments either to the user load or the scripts, or in this case just the location that I'm running from. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to be from the Bay Area. And again, I want this to run at these tests to run at the same time so that they apply load to my site at the same time. So in essence, what I'm really getting here is a 2,000 user test because I'm running it for multiple locations. If you really wanted to run it just as 1,000 users, basically you would change all of these to be half of what they are now, so that you would only get a total of 1,000 users in the test. I'm sure you get that. So we'll go ahead and schedule this. And now you can see I have 2 tests scheduled to run at exactly the same time with exactly the same load. So I'll be able to see how my website reacts from those 2 locations in North America. I hope that seemed simple. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We'll be happy to support you, and have a wonderful day.